starts now with breaking news.
And we have an update to breaking news we've been following all morning long.
An 18-wheeler hauling rolls of paper ran off I-20 at Edwards early this morning. Jewel Hillary live on the scene with a look at how your morning commute may be affected. Good morning, Jewel.
We've been out here along I-20 West near Edwards for more than an hour now, covering this 18-wheeler accident. And good news for traffic along I-20 West is the tow truck company is using the frontage road to get this truck out of this ditch. You can see that the truck is partially up right now. It looks like officials and crews with this tow truck company, they're attaching the truck to two tow trucks to try to get it completely out of the ditch and then onto the frontage road. So again, if you're traveling in this area along I-20 West near Edwards, it looks like, in terms of the traffic on the highway, everything should be smooth. But if you travel the frontage road, it is not accessible right now in this area. I did talk to the head of this tow truck company, and he says it could still take a couple of hours for them to get this mess out of this ditch. Also, regarding this accident, according to officials with the Mississippi Highway Patrol, it happened around 2:50 this morning. We're told that the driver of the truck hit a car that was sitting on the shoulder of the road. We are told that that driver sustained minor injuries and was taken to CMMC by AMR. Now, if you're wondering what spilled out of this truck, it's just simply industrial paper like this, really large bundles of it, so nothing hazardous. We'll definitely bring you the latest updates from out here along I-20 West. For now, in Hinds County, Jewel Hillary, 3 on your side.
All right, Jewel, thanks. Oppressive heat on tap again today.
Yeah, let's get straight to First Alert meteorologist Julia Wyden, who is telling us, Julia, there's new counties under watches and warnings, right?
There are new counties versus what we dealt with yesterday. So if you're waking up this morning in the town of Roxy or Bude, Brookhaven, Monticello, Prentice, you are waking up to a heat advisory, and you didn't yesterday, so this is new for you. What does that heat advisory mean? Well, many of us in central Mississippi are under it today. It means that we are going to be feeling around 105 to 110 as we get into the afternoon hours. As of right now, we're currently sitting in the 70s, but again, afternoon temperatures feeling as hot as 110. I'm going to have a full hour-by-hour forecast coming up for you in just a couple minutes.
4 U.S. Marines are dead in Tennessee after a lone gunman opened fire at 2 U.S. Navy facilities in what's being called an act of domestic terrorism.
Dave Wagner in Chattanooga with the latest on the victims and what we know about the gunman. Dave.
And good morning from Chattanooga. This is still very much a crime scene here. A sad morning in Chattanooga as 4 families in the community grieve. You know, it was 30 minutes of terror at 2 military centers, but authorities are asking, was it an act of terrorism? Barricades and bouquets tell part of the story.
Our hearts are breaking for the families of these Marines tonight.
Today, investigators are trying to determine why.
It was loud, it was fast.
On Thursday, investigators say Mohammed Yusuf Abdulaziz opened fire with at least 25 rounds on an armed forces recruiting center.
We actually didn't escape. Through our active shooter drills, we actually barricade in the building.
The gunman then drove 7 miles to a Marine Corps Reserve Center where he gunned down 4 Marines.
We are conducting this as an act of domestic terrorism.
Abdulaziz is among the dead. He was a naturalized U.S. citizen born in Kuwait but lived in the area for many years. Last night, authorities searched the lone gunman's home, car, and online activity.
We are checking every possible place that he could reside or could have resided.
While a motive is unclear, President Obama is calling for the nation to come together.
The deepest sympathies of the American people to the 4 Marines that have been killed.
A country and community dealing with gunfire and grief once again. We should mention here that the gunman was not on any terrorist watch list, but looking back, his high school yearbook entry is haunting. This is what it said: "My name causes national security alerts. What about yours?" In Chattanooga, Tennessee, Dave Wagner, NBC News.
And happening now, new images from Chattanooga where a makeshift memorial has been set up. We go straight to Cheryl Lassiter in the Alert Center. Cheryl.
Good morning, Joy. What we know right now is that they are setting up a memorial to remember the 4 U.S. Marines that were killed there yesterday, police say, as you heard, by Mohammed Yusuf Abdulaziz. Now, also this morning, one of those 4 victims was identified, USMC Gunnery Sergeant Thomas Sullivan of Springfield, Massachusetts. You can see him there. He had been working at the Marine Reservist Center in Chattanooga Sullivan had just turned 40, we're learning. This picture comes to us from the Oak Lawn Patch. We are keeping an eye on any new information that comes out of Chattanooga this morning. I'm Cheryl Lassiter in the Alert Center.
A manhunt is still underway for 2 escaped inmates from the Hinds County Detention Center. Take a look at this exclusive video. Last night, Jackson police got a tip on a drug hotline that one of the 2 escapees might be at a house in Jackson. Officer Calingela Green tells us officers were told that drugs were being sold out of the house on Carmel Avenue. Police did find a small amount of marijuana there, and the homeowner, 35-year-old Broderick Howard, was charged with misdemeanor possession of marijuana. But no escapee was found there. Montreal Anderson and Gregory Rollins are still on the loose. 2 other men who escaped with them are back in custody.
Now the latest on a case out of Stonewall. Attorneys for the family of Jonathan Sanders say preliminary autopsy results indicate he was strangled. Sanders, who is black, died July 8th after a struggle with Stonewall police. Officer Kevin Harrington. Harrington is a white officer and accused of wrapping his arms around Sanders' neck, placing him in a chokehold for 20 minutes.
Witnesses said he was saying he could not breathe.
One of the witnesses said that they heard him say he could not breathe twice. I cannot breathe. I cannot breathe.
Was he armed?
No, he was not armed.
Did he try to go for the officer's weapon?
According to witness 1, 2, and 3, no.
Sanders was unarmed and died at the scene. No charges have been filed against the Stonewall police officer at this point.
Vicksburg police are using extra manpower and increasing patrols around the city. There have been at least 20 different shootings involving businesses and cars this week. Chief Walter Armstrong tells us it began Sunday night and happened again Tuesday night. He says someone is using a BB or pellet gun to shoot out the windows of cars and businesses. We're told nothing has been taken and there have been no injuries.
New this morning, Lamar County deputies want to know who tried to steal an ATM from a gas station in Olo. Take a look at the security video. Investigators say some used the truck to try to steal the ATM. They're now searching for a Chevy GMC 4-door work truck with flatbed toolboxes on the sides of the truck bed. Even though they failed to steal that ATM, they still managed to damage the front of the store.
One of the country's largest food distribution businesses has set up shop in Flowood, and employees are celebrating in a big way today. In April of last year, the U.S. Foods building in Richland was destroyed by a tornado, but today the company has a new facility on Underwood Drive in Flowood. Chefs have been preparing a massive amount of food, and employees will celebrate later this morning with a ribbon chopping ceremony. This new distribution center supplies food to businesses and restaurants all across Mississippi and Louisiana. Flowood Mayor Gary Rhodes says the company will help build up the south end of Flowood.
Now we have this facility coming about with U.S. Foods. So that end of our city is starting to catch up with the north end where all the retail and the shopping's at.
The ribbon cutting ceremony begins this morning at 10:30. It is 6:08 now, and it's 77 degrees in Jackson.
And we want to show you now a live look at First Alert traffic. Everything is moving along nice and smoothly here on the interstate system all across the Jackson Metro. We are keeping our eye on an accident out on I-20 westbound near the Edwards exit. Our Jewel Hillary is getting some more information to see if that'll have any impact to your morning commute, and she'll have more on that when we come back. Julia.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, and what I'm watching right now is the satellite radar, which shows us that there was no rain on the map. We've been talking so much about the heat, but something I want to remind you of is that we have not had rain in quite some time, and that's led the U.S. Drought Monitor to classify parts of central Mississippi and the Pine Belt as abnormally dry. When was our last significant rain? July 5th. We are over an inch below average for rainfall for this month. I'll let you know if there's any rain in the forecast coming up straight after this break.